Steel screamed across the crimson desert. A dying guard crashed into the sand as arrows darkened the blazing sky. Horses reared, wagons splintered. Laughter rolled through the dunes while armed warlords closed a tightening circle around the lone veiled bride. Karok bloods, and rested his curved blade against the silk covering her shoulder. "You have 10 minutes," he said. "When the last grain falls, your king will receive your head instead of his bride." She did not tremble. She did not plead. She simply lowered her gaze, as though listening to something beneath the endless wind. Far beyond the burning horizon, Alpha King Zander tore across the dunes in his massive wolf form. Every heartbeat of the mate bond dragged him closer. Every second tasted like smoke and desperation. If your heart is already racing for the woman standing alone, consider subscribing and staying beside stories where courage refuses to kneel. And if you have ever felt cornered by impossible odds, know you are not facing this journey alone. The warlords mistook her silence for surrender. None of them noticed the faint shimmer beneath her silk gloves. None of them saw her fingers settle around the hidden hilts waiting beneath the bridal robes. The desert already knew what they were about to learn. They had not surrounded a helpless bride. They had surrounded the desert viper. The wind never stopped in the crimson desert. It carried heat by day, bitter cold by night, and memories older than kingdoms. Travelers believed the dunes buried forgotten cities. Warriors believed they buried monsters. Neither rumor was entirely wrong. Serafina Ashara stood motionless in the center of the tightening circle. The silk veil hid her expression. The embroidered bridal robes concealed far more than ceremonial elegance. Beneath the flowing fabric rested twin curved blades forged from black moonsteel, their edges so impossibly thin they seemed to vanish whenever sunlight touched them. Karok Bloodson laughed as he paced around her. "So this is the royal treasure?" His men answered with mocking applause. "I expected the future queen of the Northern Moon Dominion to at least cry." Another warlord spat into the sand. "Maybe she cannot even speak." More laughter erupted. Serafina remained silent. Not because she feared them, because she was counting. Not the men, not the weapons. Heartbeats. 31. 31 living enemies, 31 different rhythms moving through the desert air. Every heartbeat painted an invisible map inside her mind. Every breath betrayed hesitation. Every twitch of a finger announced an attack before it existed. Long ago, surviving had become less about seeing. It had become about listening. The desert had taught her that lesson with endless cruelty. Years before anyone called her the Desert Viper, she had wandered these same dunes carrying nothing except thirst and determination. Assassins had hunted her. Mercenaries had sold her location. Entire clans had believed a frightened young woman would become easy prey. None of them returned home. Stories spread. Some claimed a ghost wandered the sands. Others whispered about a venom spirit wearing human skin. Only a handful knew the truth. The legend wore a bridal veil today. Karok stopped directly in front of her. "I heard another story." His grin widened. "They said the Desert Viper vanished because someone finally killed her." A faint breeze lifted the edge of Serafina's veil. "If only legends could die that easily," she answered quietly. Several men froze. Her voice carried no anger, no panic, no desperation, only calm. It unsettled them more than screaming ever could. Karak recovered first. "You still have courage." He leaned closer. "I wonder how long it survives." He raised one hand. A warrior stepped forward and drove a spear into the sand only inches from Serafina's foot. Another pressed a blade against her back. A third reached for the edge of her veil. She did not move. Not yet. Deep beneath the composure, something twisted inside her chest. Pain. Sharp. Burning. Familiar. The curse had awakened hours earlier. She felt it spreading through invisible veins like molten poison. Each heartbeat hurt a little more than the last. Black Venom Heart. The name alone frightened ancient healers. No medicine could remove it. No spell could erase it. The curse rewarded unmatched speed with unmatched suffering. Whenever Serafina unleashed her full strength, Venom answered. The faster she moved, the harder her own heart fought against her. Victory always demanded payment. Sometimes the price was exhaustion, sometimes blood. One day, it would demand her life. She accepted that truth years ago. Acceptance did not make it hurt less. The poison pulsed again. She quietly inhaled, slow, controlled, measured. Panic fed the curse. Discipline starved it. Karak misread her steady breathing as surrender. You understand your fate. No. She tilted her head almost imperceptibly. I understand yours. Silence swallowed the circle. Then laughter exploded again. The warlords slapped one another on the shoulders. Someone wiped tears from his eyes. Another mimicked a frightened bride, earning even louder cheers. Only one man did not laugh. An older mercenary standing near the rear narrowed his eyes. Something about the woman's posture disturbed him. She was balanced, perfectly balanced. Not like a captive, like a predator waiting for prey to step closer. He whispered toward Karak. My lord. Karak ignored him. The old mercenary swallowed hard. His grandfather had once spoken of a woman whose footsteps never left tracks. A woman whose enemies died before finishing their first swing. A woman with golden eyes. He stared at the tiny glimpse of skin beneath the veil. His face slowly lost all color. No! His voice barely escaped. It cannot be! Meanwhile, far across the dunes, an enormous shadow crossed the sand at impossible speed. Alpha King Zander never slowed. The mate bond pulled him with relentless certainty. His wolf sensed more than distance. It sensed danger. It sensed unbearable pain. It sensed someone enduring agony without making a sound. His claws carved deep trenches behind him. Every instinct screamed the same command. Faster. Back within the circle, Serafina quietly flexed her fingers. The hidden blades remained sheathed. Not because she doubted herself, because every unnecessary movement wasted precious life. She would draw them only once. One clean beginning, one final ending. If you can imagine carrying that kind of invisible burden while the world mistakes your silence for weakness, you already understand more about courage than many people ever will. If stories about resilient women speak to you, a simple like lets this journey reach others who may need the reminder that quiet strength is still strength. The wind shifted. For a heartbeat, the desert became strangely still. Even the horses grew restless. Several snorted and pulled against broken reins. Animals always sensed ancient things before humans did. Serafina lifted her face slightly. The air had changed. A familiar scent drifted through the burning heat. Moonlight. Impossible. There was no moon overhead. Yet she recognized that scent instantly. He was close. Closer than anyone realized. Karak noticed her looking toward the horizon. Expecting rescue? No. Her answer remained calm. I am expecting consequences. Again, the men laughed. Again, they mistook certainty for bluff. Hidden beneath thousands of years of crimson sand, something ancient seemed to answer with a low vibration that no ordinary ear could hear. Legends claimed the first Venom Queen had once sealed an unspeakable force beneath these dunes using her own blood. Most dismissed the tale as mythology. Serafina never did. Her family had guarded that secret for generations. And tonight, the desert itself almost seemed to be watching. The first thing Alpha King Zander smelled was blood. Not fresh blood, not the wild scent of battle. This was fading blood, already drying beneath the relentless desert sun, carried across the dunes with bitter dust and shattered steel. The second scent stole the breath from his lungs. Moon jasmine, warm amber, rain after lightning. His mate. The world around him blurred. His massive wolf launched over a broken ridge, scattering crimson sand in every direction. His silver eyes locked onto the ruined royal caravan far below, where overturned wagons burned beneath the afternoon sky. She was there, alive. The invisible bond inside his soul roared awake. It felt less like recognition and more like an ancient door crashing open after centuries of silence. Every instinct screamed the same truth. Mine. Protect her. Find her. Bring her home. Zander shifted into human form while still running. Moonlight rippled across his body, forming black armor trimmed with silver. His broad shoulders rolled forward as he accelerated down the final dune with terrifying speed. The surviving warlords noticed him almost immediately. "The Alpha King!" someone shouted in panic. "He actually came!" Karak turned toward the approaching figure. For only a heartbeat, uncertainty crossed his face. Then confidence returned. "Perfect." He smiled. "We kill him too." The surrounding warriors raised bows. Dozens of arrows pointed toward the charging king. None of them noticed the woman standing quietly in their center. Zander hardly saw the soldiers. His attention belonged entirely to the veiled bride. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Every fated mate he had ever heard about responded to danger with fear, relief, desperation, or hope when their alpha arrived. She responded with stillness. Complete, impossible stillness. Her heartbeat remained astonishingly steady. Her breathing never changed. There was no scent of panic, no helplessness, no expectation that someone else would save her. Instead, he caught another scent beneath the fragrance of moon jasmine. Cold iron, ancient venom. The sharp electric smell that appeared moments before lightning struck. His wolf stiffened inside him. predator, not prey. The realization hit with startling force. His mate was hunting. Not surviving, hunting. Karak stepped closer to Serafina again, deliberately placing his blade beneath her chin. "Watch carefully, Your Majesty." He raised his voice so Zander could hear every word. "I will kill your bride first." The circle erupted with cruel laughter. Zander stopped 20 yards away. The ground beneath his boots cracked. Silver energy rippled outward from his body like invisible thunder. Every ordinary werewolf instinctively stepped backward. The sheer pressure of a royal alpha aura demanded obedience. Many nearly dropped to one knee without understanding why. Only Karak forced himself to remain standing. His smile became strained. "So the stories are true. You carry the king's presence." Zander never looked at him. His eyes remained fixed on the woman beneath the veil. "Move away from her." His voice stayed calm. Too calm. It rolled across the desert like distant thunder before a devastating storm. Karak laughed. "Or what? You are too late. I own this battlefield." For the first time, Serafina spoke. "No." Every head turned. "You only borrowed it." Zander's eyes narrowed. Even her voice carried extraordinary control. She sounded like someone discussing tomorrow's weather, not someone with a sword against her throat. His instincts became increasingly conflicted. The mate bond urged him to rush forward, to shield her, to fight for her. Yet another instinct, older, deeper, far more primal, whispered a warning. Do not interrupt the hunt. That frightened him more than any enemy ever had. He had battled rogue alphas, ancient beasts, blood-cursed monsters. Nothing had ever made his wolf hesitate. Until now. The wind shifted once more. Her veil fluttered. For a single heartbeat, sunlight reached beneath the silk. He saw one eye, molten gold, not soft, not frightened, focused. It was the gaze of someone calculating exactly how many seconds remained before every threat disappeared forever. His heartbeat stumbled. Beautiful, terrifying, unforgettable. The mate bond surged with overwhelming force, but instead of warmth, he felt ice. Not emotional coldness, professional precision. The kind carried by warriors who had survived so many impossible battles that fear had become an unnecessary luxury. She had accepted death long ago. That realization hurt more than any wound. Somewhere behind Karak, the elderly mercenary slowly backed away. His hands trembled. I remember. His voice cracked. My grandfather described those eyes. Another warrior frowned. What are you talking about? The old man swallowed. The desert viper never attacked first. Confusion spread through the nearby soldiers. What? He always said. The old mercenary stared directly at Serafina. She waited. Whoa, why? Because once she moved, his lips quivered. Everyone else stopped. A nervous silence spread through the circle. Several men instinctively tightened their grip on their weapons. Others laughed to hide their discomfort. Karak rolled his eyes. Enough ghost stories. He shoved the blade harder beneath Serafina's chin. You hear them? They think you are some legend. If you truly are, his grin widened. Prove it. She never answered. Instead, she quietly inhaled. One slow breath. The curse inside her chest twisted again. Pain radiated through her heart like burning glass. Black veins briefly appeared beneath the skin hidden under her sleeves, before fading once more. Zander caught the faint scent. Poison. Not ordinary poison. Living poison. It was consuming her from within. His expression hardened. Whoever had done this, whoever had cursed his mate, would answer for it. The invisible bond carried more than emotion. Now it carried pain. Tiny fragments reached him. A heartbeat that hurt. A soul that had learned to suffer in silence. A woman who believed enduring agony was simply another responsibility. Without thinking, he took one step forward. Her head moved almost imperceptibly. No. She never spoke aloud. She did not need to. The bond carried the message directly into him. Trust me. It shocked him. No one commanded an Alpha King. No one. Yet somehow, he stopped. Not because she dominated him, because every instinct insisted she knew exactly what she was doing. Have you ever met someone whose quiet confidence completely changed the atmosphere in a room? Those people remind us that true strength rarely needs to announce itself. If this moment has you holding your breath, consider leaving a like and sharing which character has earned your respect so far. The desert became unnaturally silent. Even the wind faded. No bird crossed the burning sky. No horse made a sound. The world itself seemed to pause. Karak frowned. What is this? He glanced around uneasily. His warriors exchanged uncertain looks. Something invisible had changed. They simply could not understand what. Serafina understood. The hunt had reached its final heartbeat. Her fingers slowly curled beneath the flowing bridle sleeves. Around the hidden hilts of the twin fangs, across the battlefield, Alpha King Zander realized the truth at exactly the same moment. He had not arrived to rescue a helpless bride. He had arrived just in time to witness a legend awaken. Karak smiled. Your time is over. The tip of his blade pressed harder beneath Serafina's chin. A single crimson bead slid down her neck. 30 warriors grinned. One old mercenary closed his eyes. He knew. The first drop of blood had crossed an invisible line. Serafina whispered 3 words. You chose this. The veil fell. Silk drifted into the desert wind like a surrendering flag. Then sunlight reached her face. Molten gold eyes. Calm. Beautiful. Utterly merciless. Every laugh died. Karak's grin froze. Recognition flashed across his face. No. His voice cracked. It cannot. The desert viper. For one impossible heartbeat, nobody moved. Then Serafina disappeared. Not stepped. Not leaped. Disappeared. The sound arrived before the movement. A sharp crack ripped through the air, like lightning striking directly overhead. Twin black blades flashed. The first warrior blinked. His spear split cleanly into 2 pieces before he realized it had been cut. The second reached for his sword. His belt slid apart. His weapon fell harmlessly into the sand. The third swung wildly. Serafina was already behind him. She tapped his shoulder almost gently. He turned. His armor separated into perfect sections and collapsed around his feet. Silence. 3 men stood motionless. Then all 3 dropped to their knees at once, completely defeated without a fatal wound. Every cut had been impossibly precise. Weapons, armor, tendons, nothing unnecessary, everything deliberate. The remaining warriors stared in horror. "Where is she? I cannot see her!" A scream erupted behind them. Another. Black streaks danced through the blazing sunlight. Every time the twin fangs appeared, another weapon exploded into fragments. Bows snapped. Axes shattered. Spears became useless splinters. Warriors spun in circles, swinging at empty air. They were fighting shadows. No, they were fighting time itself. To Alpha King Zander, the battlefield looked unreal. Even his enhanced senses struggled to follow her. Sand spiraled around every movement. Heat shimmered into dozens of false images. 1 Serafina became 5. 5 became 20. The desert itself seemed to create copies of its deadliest daughter. His wolf growled inside him, not in fear, in awe. No living assassin should possess such speed. No ordinary werewolf could bend perception like this. Every legend he had dismissed as exaggeration suddenly felt incomplete. She was even more terrifying than the stories. Karok roared, "Form ranks! Surround her!" His captains obeyed instantly. 30 seasoned warriors moved into a defensive circle, backs together. Steel pointed outward in every direction. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. The silence became unbearable. 1 captain swallowed. "I think..." His voice trembled. "She left." Another laughed nervously. "See? I told you." A whisper interrupted him. "No." It came from directly behind the formation. Everyone spun. Nobody. The whisper came again. "No." Now it sounded above them. Heads snapped upward. Still nothing. Then, below. "No." Panic exploded. "Where is she? I cannot." The sand beneath their feet erupted. Serafina burst upward like a living desert storm. Twin fangs crossed once. Only once. Metal sang. Every weapon inside the formation shattered simultaneously. 30 blades broke into glittering fragments. Silence returned. Several warriors stared at empty handles still clutched in trembling hands. 1 dropped his useless hilt. Another slowly backed away. "No. This isn't possible." Karok felt something he had not experienced since childhood. Fear. Real fear. Not caution. Not concern. Pure primal terror. His heartbeat hammered against his ribs. His mouth went dry. His hands began to shake despite years of warfare. This woman. She was not struggling. She was holding back. The realization struck harder than any blade. Everything until now had been restraint. His arrogance cracked. He saw it. Tiny black veins spreading beneath the skin near Serafina's collarbone. She was fighting something inside herself. Not them, the mighty Blood Sand Syndicate. 30 elite killers, reduced to an inconvenience. She coughed softly. A single drop of dark blood landed on the crimson sand. The curse tightened around her heart. Pain surged through her chest. Every accelerated movement fed the venom. Each heartbeat burned hotter, faster, sharper. She closed her eyes for half a second. Control. Just enough control. She could finish this. She simply had to survive long enough afterward. Zander felt the pain through the mate bond. It slammed into him like a physical blow. His fists clenched. Every instinct begged him to intervene, yet he understood now. Stopping her would only distract her. Trust her. He forced himself to remain still. It was the hardest battle he had ever fought. Karak screamed, "Kill her!" The remaining warriors charged together. It was their final mistake. Serafina moved. The world slowed. At least, that was how it felt to everyone watching. Individual grains of sand seemed suspended in sunlight. Falling arrows drifted lazily through the air. Wind curled around motionless cloaks. Inside that impossible heartbeat, only one figure truly moved. Serafina. She flowed between warriors like water finding cracks in stone. One light touch. A shoulder collapsed. One turn. A sword arm became useless. One sweeping kick. 3 enemies crashed into one another. No wasted effort. No unnecessary brutality. Pure efficiency. Every opponent fell alive. Disarmed. Broken in spirit. Unable to continue. The battlefield transformed into a sea of defeated warriors staring upward in disbelief. Not one had landed a single meaningful strike. Karak staggered backward. His confidence was gone. His breathing became ragged. You are a monster." Serafina finally looked directly into his eyes. "No." Her voice remained quiet. "I am what happens." She took one slow step closer. When monsters mistake mercy for weakness. He swung desperately. A wild overhead strike. She caught his wrist. The impact echoed across the dunes. He tried to pull away. He could not. Her grip felt like forged steel. She gently twisted. The sword slipped from his fingers. It landed in the sand with a dull thud. She placed one twin fang beneath his throat. Not pressing. Waiting. Giving him one final chance to understand. Karak's knees buckled. He collapsed into the sand. The feared warlord who had ruled the Crimson Desert for decades could not even meet her eyes. "I surrender." His voice shattered. "Please, please don't." Before he could finish, the ancient silence returned. The entire battlefield watched. No one breathed. No one spoke. If you have ever watched someone underestimate another person simply because they looked gentle, you know how satisfying this moment feels. Quiet strength often changes the world more completely than loud arrogance ever can. If this reversal has you cheering for Serafina, leave a like and tell us the exact moment Karak realized he had already lost. Serafina lowered one blade. For the first time, compassion flickered across her face. Live. Karok blinked. What? Live. You will remember this day longer than death ever could. She turned away. That single act of mercy broke him more completely than any execution could have. But as she took her second step, the venom reached her heart. Agony exploded through her chest. Her vision blurred. Black veins raced beneath her skin. One twin fang slipped from trembling fingers and buried itself in the sand. Alpha King Zander's eyes widened. The battle was over. The real fight had only just begun. The twin fang quivered where it had buried itself in the sand. Seraphina reached for it. Her fingers stopped halfway. A violent tremor raced through her arm. The world tilted. The victorious battlefield blurred into streaks of crimson and gold. Every defeated warlord watched in stunned silence. Only moments earlier, she had moved like a force beyond nature. Now she struggled to remain standing. The contrast was almost impossible to understand. Black veins spread from beneath her collar toward her neck. Each heartbeat forced another wave of venom through her body. The curse had collected its payment. Seraphina inhaled sharply. The air refused to fill her lungs. It felt as though invisible hands had wrapped around her heart, tightening with every pulse. She had known this moment would come. She simply hoped it would come later. Far away. Alone. Never in front of strangers. Never in front of him. Alpha King Zander crossed the battlefield. He did not rush recklessly. He walked with deliberate confidence, every step carrying the quiet authority of a ruler who feared nothing. His silver aura spread across the sand like moonlight spilling over a dark ocean. The defeated warriors instinctively lowered their eyes. Even Karok remained kneeling. No one dared interrupt. Seraphina sensed him approaching. Stop. Her voice came out barely above a whisper. You should stay back. Zander continued walking. You are poisoned. I know. It will spread. I know. It may reach you. His expression never changed. I know. For the first time since removing her veil, uncertainty appeared in her molten gold eyes. Most people fled from cursed things. Most kings protected themselves before anyone else. This Alpha King kept coming. The invisible mate bond pulsed between them, not as chains, not as ownership, as recognition. He stopped only a few feet away. Moonlight shimmered around his broad shoulders despite the blazing afternoon sun. The strange glow softened the brutal landscape. It felt impossibly calm after the storm. You fought alone for too long, he said quietly. I survived. Yes. His voice carried genuine respect. But surviving and carrying everything by yourself are not the same. Her breathing faltered. Those words reached deeper than the curse ever could. She had forgotten what it sounded like to hear concern without pity, without expectation, without conditions. The venom answered her hesitation. Pain exploded again. She staggered. This time she fell forward. Before she touched the ground, strong arms caught her. She instinctively reached for a blade, then stopped. His scent surrounded her. Moonlight. Winter cedar. Rain over stone. Safe. The realization startled her more than the pain. She had not felt safe in years, perhaps decades. Zander supported her carefully, never tightening his grip enough to make it feel like restraint. He understood something few warriors ever learned. The strongest people often feared losing control more than losing battles. "I am not here to cage you," he said softly. "I am here to stand beside you." A faint smile almost appeared. Almost. Then another wave of agony bent her forward. Black veins spread across both hands. The sand beneath their feet darkened as tiny drops of venom touched the ground. Nearby, one wounded warlord recoiled. "That poison! I have never seen anything like it." The elderly mercenary slowly nodded. "My grandfather spoke of it. The Venom Queen's curse." He looked toward Zander. "If he does nothing." His voice trailed away. No one finished the sentence. Everyone understood. The legend, who had defeated 30 elite warriors, could still lose to her own heart. Zander closed his eyes. His wolf stirred deep within his soul. The royal alpha aura expanded. Not violently, not to dominate, to embrace. Silver light flowed outward in slow waves. The air cooled. The scorching desert breeze softened into something that felt almost like an evening under a full moon. Every werewolf present instinctively relaxed. Even the injured found their breathing becoming easier. The aura carried no threat, only unwavering stability. Serafina stiffened. "What are you doing?" "Sharing the weight." "You cannot." "I can. It will hurt." "I know. It may scar your soul." He smiled gently. "Then neither of us will carry scars alone." Without another word, he rested one hand over her heart. Not to heal, not to erase the curse, to anchor her. The mate bond ignited. Silver light met black venom. Neither force tried to destroy the other. Instead, the moonlight formed countless delicate threads around the raging poison, slowing its advance without denying its existence. Zander gasped. The pain hit him instantly. It felt as though molten glass flowed through his own chest. His heartbeat stumbled. Sweat formed across his forehead. Yet he never removed his hand. Across the battlefield, dozens of witnesses watched in disbelief. One young warrior whispered, "The king is taking her pain." Another slowly shook his head. "No. He is choosing to." There was a difference, a profound one. Serafina felt it too. For the first time since the curse had entered her life, the burden became lighter. Not gone. Shared. A tear escaped before she could stop it. She had endured torture without crying. She had crossed deserts with broken bones. She had buried friends without shedding a tear. Yet simple kindness threatened to break her composure completely. "You fool," she whispered. His smile grew warmer. "Possibly. You barely know me. I know enough. What do you know?" He looked directly into her molten gold eyes. "I know you protected innocent people. I know you spared the man who deserved death. I know you carried unbearable pain without asking anyone to rescue you." He paused. "And I know my soul recognized yours before my eyes ever did." Silence settled between them. Not empty silence. Comfortable silence. The kind that asked for nothing. If someone has ever helped you carry a burden, instead of pretending it did not exist, then you understand why this moment matters. Real strength is not measured only by what we endure alone, but by the courage to accept a steady hand when it is offered. If this scene touched your heart, leave a like and let us know whether Seraphina should have trusted someone sooner. The silver aura continued spreading. The black veins slowly stopped advancing. They did not disappear, but they no longer raced toward her heart. Her breathing steadied. Color gradually returned to her face. The impossible had happened. The curse remained, yet it had been restrained, not through force, through balance. The elderly mercenary fell to one knee. He lowered his head. I have lived 70 years. I never believed I would witness the Moon King standing beside the Desert Viper. One by one, the remaining warriors followed. Weapons lay shattered around them. Pride lay shattered beside them. Even Karok lowered his forehead into the sand. His voice trembled. The desert has chosen new rulers. Zander looked toward Seraphina. He offered no command, no declaration, only his hand. She studied it for several long seconds. Then, despite the lingering pain, she accepted. Their fingers intertwined, not as king and subject, not as savior and victim, as equals. Above them, the relentless desert wind changed direction. Far beneath the crimson dunes, something ancient stirred, as if the forgotten heart of the desert itself had awakened to witness the beginning of a new era. Dawn painted the crimson desert in shades of gold instead of blood. The battlefield no longer echoed with clashing steel. Only the wind remained, sweeping across broken weapons now half buried beneath the shifting sand. The survivors stood in respectful silence. No one looked at Seraphina with fear alone anymore. What filled their eyes now was something rarer. Reverence. She stood beside Alpha King Zander, her veil gone forever. The rising sun illuminated the faint silver threads still woven around the black curse beneath her skin. The venom had not vanished. It never would. It had simply found an opponent strong enough to keep it from consuming her. That truth changed everything. Zander turned toward the gathered warriors. His voice carried effortlessly across the desert. Strength without compassion becomes tyranny. Compassion without strength becomes surrender. He looked toward Seraphina. Neither of us is complete without the other. No one argued. No one questioned the declaration. They had witnessed the impossible. A woman feared by legends had chosen mercy over vengeance. A king powerful enough to command nations had chosen partnership over domination. The ancient balance that countless kingdoms had forgotten suddenly stood before them. Karok slowly rose to his feet. His armor was ruined. His pride had been stripped away more thoroughly than any weapon could have managed. He stepped forward, then lowered himself onto one knee. Not because fear demanded it, because respect did. I spent my life believing power belonged to whoever inspired the greatest terror. He lowered his head. Yesterday proved I understood nothing. Seraphina regarded him quietly. The lesson is only valuable if you live it. He nodded once. I will. Without another word, he ordered every surviving warrior to lay down their remaining weapons. One by one, steel met sand. The sound rolled across the desert like the closing chapter of an old age. Far beneath the crimson dunes, the ancient seal left by the first Venom Queen pulsed almost imperceptibly. Neither Serafina nor Zander missed it. Their eyes met. No explanation was necessary. Whatever had stirred beneath the desert had not awakened completely. Not yet. Another journey waited beyond today's victory. Another darkness would eventually rise. But when that day came, neither of them would stand alone. As they began walking toward the horizon together, the wind lifted the last fragments of Serafina's abandoned bridal veil into the endless sky. The frightened bride who had entered the crimson desert no longer existed. In her place walked the desert viper, a queen whose greatest strength had never been her impossible speed. It had been her unwavering decision to remain merciful after earning every reason not to be. Perhaps that is why stories like this stay with us. Life has a way of convincing good people that carrying every burden alone is the price of being strong. It is not. Real courage is protecting your heart without hardening it. Real resilience is continuing to choose kindness after surviving cruelty. And real love is not finding someone to rescue you. It is finding someone willing to walk beside you when the road remains difficult. If today's journey reminded you of your own quiet battles, I hope you remember this whenever life feels overwhelming. Even the strongest souls deserve someone who shares the weight. From the bottom of my heart, may peace fill your home. May good health strengthen you each morning. May your family be surrounded by love, safety, and hope wherever life leads you. And may you always discover the courage to rise again, no matter how impossible tomorrow appears. Before we part, there is one question I would truly love to hear your thoughts on. If you had stood in Serafina's place, would you have spared Karok, or would you have ended his story forever? Share your answer in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey, please like, share, and subscribe so you never miss another unforgettable tale of courage, destiny, and extraordinary women who refuse to bow before darkness. Until our paths cross again, may your heart remain fearless,